Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon,
And I'm Aiara.
and welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Uh, Free Palestine. We'll be saying that at the beginning of every episode because
From the land to
it's
the sea.
it's still ongoing, and until significant change happens, we're gonna keep talking about it. And as I continue, inform myself and learn new ways that I can, help the cause, I'll inform you guys about it and let you know what you guys can do. So, yeah. Also, today's my birthday. Shout out to me. Big
Yay!
old 2-3. It's my Jordan year. Well, I guess my Jordan year
Wow.
2 months before the year's over, but um, but yeah. Off work today, so I'm just chilling. All I gotta do is record this podcast, and I'm not editing nothing today because I don't feel like it. But yeah,
I know that's right.
give me. I'm gonna order me a slice of German chocolate cake. I like me some German chocolate cake. I had
Ooh.
it once from
Ooh,
this one
nice
place a
choice.
while
Nice
back,
choice.
and it was good. And I was like, man,
Uh-huh.
like, this is my first time having it, and I haven't had it since. And I was just like, I want more. Someday I'm gonna treat myself today. But
As you should. As you
yeah,
should.
as usual, we'll start with media consuming. Ayera, what have you been consuming?
Okay, so I've been doing a lot of playing and reading and not watching. So I went to Barnes and Nobles the other day, bought a whole bunch of books because I was like, I'm tired of not reading as much as I should. So I bought This Is How You Lose the Time War, which has a very infamous history in a certain fan base. If you know, you know. Finished that over the
Explain. I've
weekend.
heard
It
of
was
this,
amazing.
but what do you mean?
So like I think I want to say in like May or June-ish, a Trigun fan account tweeted about This Is How You Lose the Time War.
Oh yeah, I remember. You talked about this,
Yes,
but
yes, yes,
go ahead,
yes.
finish.
Yeah. Yep. They tweeted about it and the tweet got really, really like blew up. And so subsequently the sales of the book also blew up. And like everybody was buying it, everybody was reading it. The authors were like, I don't even know what a trigun is, but thank you for the popularity. Like the producer Stampede had bought and read the book. It was a lot. I finally bought it and read it, and it was worth all the praise that it had gotten. Fantastic book. It made me very sad. I also bought Dune and started the first Dune book. Not enjoying it as much, but I think once I get into it, I'll probably enjoy it a little more because I wanted to read the book before watching the movies, or the movie. Read the books, plural, before watching the movie, just so I would have a little more context.
The
And
the mini
then,
books.
yeah, many. There's a lot. I only have the first two because it's a sort of trial run. If I don't like them, I'll just be like, dang, that sucks, and then not buy the rest. But knowing me, I'll probably like them. And then I've been playing Metal Gear Solid, the first one. It's really hard.
It is old.
It's
I was watching or listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about
mhm.
how it's hard to show people older movies if they aren't accustomed to watching older movies. Um, and
Right.
then they started talking about video games and how one of them, despite being like 32 or something, he was like, it's hard for him to play games older than 2015 because for him I don't know, it's just they're too old for him. And I'm like, that's well, it's wild for him at that age to feel that way. But
Right.
I got it because in the same vein as the conversation they were having before, if somebody didn't grow up playing games from the early 2000s, then like if I take somebody around my brother's age, my brother's perfectly fine playing old games, but I'm sure there are kids around his age who probably aren't because to them it's just too old and clunky or whatever. And Metal Gear
Right.
Solid 1 is that, but to me, I just love Metal Gear too much.
I think for me it's less a thing of like I'm not used to playing old games. It's just I'm not good at it. Like I've never been good at stealth games. I can't get past the second screen. I am literally stuck there.
The room with
I
the
had a funny
tanks?
death. No, not even there. The first room where you're trying to get into the place, not the elevator, but
Oh,
the one that
after
comes
the
directly after that.
elevator. Oh, okay.
Yep, I'm stuck there. I had a funny death recently, where I was like, I had picked up like the I think it was like a pistol in the truck in like the center of the area, and I was hiding
Yeah,
behind the box, and I
I
thought I
missed
was
that. I missed the. I knew that I missed the pistol because like I said, I've watched people play this game before, and I went,
right.
got to the room after that, then went down the elevator, got to the room after that, and then realized, oh crap, I forgot the pistol. And I don't think I went back. I think I just restarted from like my save point from when I first got up to that area, got the pistol, and then redid
Real,
all that
real.
before I got way too far and had to backtrack
Right,
way too much to get the pistol.
right. But yeah, like I had gotten it, and then I snuck out of the truck, and I was trying to duck off into the side room where like the security camera is. Got in the room, got the item in that room with no problem. Getting out, the security camera like barely caught my foot, and I immediately get swarmed by like 6 guys and then die. And I'm like, oh,
So I assume that out of fear of getting caught, you didn't get the item in the middle of the helipad with the
nope,
spotlight on
because
it. Yeah. So
I
which
tried to get it earlier, and it died from that
Yeah,
like
I got caught
two
every time I
runs
tried to
before
get
that.
it. I I,
Yep.
I got caught every time, but of course there is a way to do it without getting caught. I just didn't. But what
Of course, yeah.
those are chaff grenades, and chaff grenades
Hmm.
disable electronic devices.
Oh, okay. See, that makes sense.
So you could throw those, and it turns off cameras and turns for a little bit of time
Gotcha.
for you to run by them
Hmm.
or run in and do whatever you need to do. But yeah,
That makes sense. That makes
we'll get
sense.
into that later. Um,
Yeah, we will.
Anything
We will.
else?
Um, Other than that, no. Been trying to finish Blasphemous, and Super Mario RPG comes out on Friday. I pre-ordered it. I'm ready. The little icon is on my Switch home screen. I don't. Nobody better not contact me at all on Friday, because that's what I'm gonna be doing the whole day.
Dove,
I'm
you
so excited.
uh have any interest in the new Mario game? The was it Super Mario Wonder?
Not really. I'm one of those people that like it's like Mario for me peaked at New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and then like every uh Mario Bros. Esque game after that has been kind of downhill. Wonder looks good. I will admit, Wonder looks good, and I appreciate what it's doing and like why people like it. It's just not for me.
That's fair. So I still watching Doom Patrol. The last episode was really good. It was a musical episode, and it was great.
Ooh.
And it tapped into that whimsy that I love about Doom Patrol. And the season and therefore the series is officially over, but I still have a few episodes left to watch. But yeah, that musical episode like reinvigorated my want to actually finish it. Still replaying RE4, close to the end. Just finished the Krauser boss fight. Picked up his knife and almost fully upgraded it. Man, Resident Evil 4 is just fun, man. I just love this game. I'll tell you about the categories I nominated it for and think it should win when we get there. Uh,
Nice.
uh, like we just talked about playing Metal Gear Solid One. Fun. I haven't played it in a few days though. I was gonna play it this weekend, but I just didn't feel like it. But I'll play it eventually. Still watching Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series, both real good. Especially Batman. I finished up actually the second season of Batman the Animated Series, so now I'm in the third season where they changed the art style. Um,
Ooh.
so and actually the episode, coincidentally, the episode of Superman Animated Series I'm on is the World's Finest, where Batman comes to Metropolis. Um,
Nice.
and I think it's like a three-parter, so yeah, I'm excited for that.
Ooh.
An episode before that, Darkseid debuted, so yeah, high parts of Superman and Batman right now. Jujutsu Kaisen, man,
Nice.
it's good. It's just it's your classic, just straight up battle shonen. They just be fighting, and the animation is good. They just be throwing hands. I know you be seeing them jokes about Itadori and his domain and
I do.
expansion just be throwing hands. That's all he does.
I
Everybody else,
do. I do.
every Jujutsu Kaisen, we talked about it before. It has some of the most overly complicated abilities and explanations for abilities in any comic book ever. But the main character, his power is just to throw hands. That's all he does. He has no special ability. He just fights. And it's so funny, him in contrast to the entire world around him. It's hilarious.
You know, he's so real for that. Sometimes that's all you need is to throw hands.
It's like that anime that came out recently, Mashal, where it's a universe where everybody does magic, but the main character is just pure muscle, and he like powers through people's magic because he's buff. um, but yeah, also catching up Spy Family. Apparently, season 2 started, which is crazy. I didn't even hear about this even happening yet, and I'm still only like a little bit over halfway through the first season because it's like I don't know, man. I'm so used to seasons being like 13 or less episodes long that having a season of a show that's 25 episodes long is just a lot for me.
Right.
And in reality, it's not that much if we, compared to the olden days. But because shows
Oh
be
yeah.
having shorter seasons, it feels like so much. But yeah, that's all I got for what media I'm receiving. Moving on to animation, Attack on Titan released the series finale. Ooh
Finally,
boy,
it's about time.
it was a movie. It was like an hour and a half long,
Oh,
or maybe it was like
really?
it was around that time. It might have been like an hour 11 minutes, but either way, it was long. I mean, the last episode was also like an hour long. Because it was wild when they released the last episode. Because I was like, oh yeah, Attack on Titan's back for the final couple episodes of the season. Then they released 1 hour long episode, and then like 6 months later, we didn't get another one. And I was like, oh, I thought you were just like back. I didn't know you just released one
Ooh,
episode. But yeah, then they released this one, and it was good, man. I love Attack on Titan. It is in my top 10. It is one of my favorite anime of all time.
oh, wow.
I love Attack on Titan. I forget when. Like I watched it a long time ago, liked it,
Mhm.
but then for whatever reason fell off. And then over the pandemic is when I got back into it. And I finally caught up on I think at the time, the third season, and watched that, and then jumped into the manga, and then the anime came back.
Oh,
And by the time the first part of the final season was over, the manga had ended. So I had read it all, or not all of it, but that last like arc. So yeah,
right.
is Attack on Titan's good. Have you watched Attack on Titan?
I watched the first season a long, long time. Like when I say a long time ago, I mean like middle school. And have tried on and off again to like read the manga, but I don't know. I just can't get into it.
Oh, the manga is the worst way to get into it. Don't try to read the manga.
Ah,
The manga is
I see. Okay.
notoriously considered not that good, especially compared to the
Really?
anime, because the artist isn't the artist and writer isn't that good of an artist, and they get much better towards the
Uh,
end. Like when I'm reading the last arc, the art's fine, but the art at the beginning isn't very good.
got
It's
you.
honestly
Noted. Okay.
kind of, I guess, I don't know. I guess it's because the writing was so good that it got turned into an anime, because the art
Mhm.
definitely isn't that good. So, because I mean, the writing is phenomenal. So, but yeah,
Right.
the animation in the show is far superior to the art in the manga. And the animation in the
Got
show,
you.
especially those first couple seasons before they changed the art style and animation studio in the last season. Funny enough, actually, studio
Mhm.
that animated the first 3 seasons is a studio that's animating Spy Family, and
Got you.
that's
Okay.
and they stopped working on it because the people who own the animation rights or whatever, just it's Japan. They wanted them to make it in an unreasonable amount of time, and
Right.
the studio was just like, no. So they went to go work on Spy Family, and they gave it to Mappa, the studio that doesn't know how to not work. They're just
Right.
always working on everything all at once when there's so many things that they're working on for no reason. And they picked it up, and they actually changed the art style to be more similar to the art in the manga, which is, you know, has some mixed reactions because the art in the manga
Mhm.
is notoriously not great, but the animation is great.
Mhm.
Mop is good at their job,
Right.
and plus
Yeah.
they started using 3D models for the Titans, which a lot of people didn't like, which got much
Mm.
better in the second part of the last season.
Mhm.
Um, because Mop is good with CG, but
Yeah. Yeah.
when you have a whole 3 seasons without it, and then you randomly throw it in there for Titans that previously were animated in 2D, people are obviously going to be like, "What are you doing? This is weird."
Or they're gonna be like, ah, I don't like it, but no, you just don't like it because it's different.
I don't disagree with them, because I wish that the other studio animated it to the end, but I get why they didn't do
Right.
it, because they were trying to get them to do it in a time limit that they just didn't have, because they wanted to do it, they just didn't have the time.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely suggest trying to watch it again and watch all of it, because yeah, the anime is the way to go. Don't try to read it.
Bet I just might, cause I'm gonna be honest. I miss Hanj. The She was always my favorite.
Hunch
I
is
miss
good.
her so much.
Hunch is good. Um, but yeah, there were a lot of trailers for animated stuff recently because Netflix had their Geeked
Oh
week.
yeah.
Before we get to that, there was a trailer for Inside Out 2, which I forgot that was happening. Um,
I didn't.
but yeah, first one was good. I like that movie. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the first time I saw it, my teacher who loves it, they played it. They played it several times in class. I probably saw that movie like 3 times in their class. My graphic design, the teacher at Boston Design School, Harris. they just played the hell out of the movie. They love that movie, and I might have to hit them up and talk about this trailer because they love this movie. One of my friends posted something that said, "Check on Harris, see how they're doing." um, but yeah, inside out to the trailer, it was more of a teaser.
Yep.
It wasn't really a trailer.
Yeah.
And the main character is older. I forget her name.
Riley.
Yeah, I don't remember any of the humans' names. I just remember their emotions.
Right.
They show that she's 13 and now she's a teenager, and now some teenage emotions are coming in through. You got anxiety. As soon as I saw them, I was like, "Oh, it's anxiety, isn't it?"
Yep.
As soon as
people
I saw
on people on Twitter are like, "Oh, that's just me. That the little creature." It's silly.
yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a lot of new emotions, so that's fun. Excited to see what that.
Yeah, that's really fun.
But yeah, Netflix. I don't know why I wrote Netflix with a C at the end in my notes, but they had their Geek Week, so they announced a bunch of stuff. And in terms of animation, there was a trailer for Ultraman Rising, an animated. I think it's a movie. Actually, I'm not sure if it's a movie or series. I should probably look that up. But yeah, it just looks good, and I've been wanting to get into Ultraman. I just haven't found the thing that was like interesting enough for me to want to get into it. But this looks like it might be the thing. Ultraman is the inspiration for my favorite Ben 10 alien, Way Big. So I've always had interest in Ultraman ever since I found that out. So yeah, I'm probably gonna check this out. Hopefully it's good. Blood of Zeus is getting a season 2, surprisingly.
Nice.
Coming sometime next year. The first season ended in a way that it could have just stopped there, but the door was open for them to continue if they wanted to. But I think most people expected them not to because I don't know, it didn't seem like it did very well for it to warrant another season. But I guess it did. So we get another season. Same animation studio, powerhouse as Castlevania.
Nice.
Masters of the Universe Revelations season 2. We finally get a full trailer, and Hordak is the main villain working with good old Skeletor, voiced by the Joker himself in this, Mark Hamill.
Oh wow! Wow.
I'm mixed on him voicing him ever since the first season because it's like, yeah, he's good because it's Mark Hamill and he's the Joker, but
right.
Like when I hear Skeletor, I don't want to hear the Joker. I want to hear Skeletor, and Skeletor has always had. This is meant to be a continuation of the original anime series, and Skeletor has always had his own unique voice, and it's not like Mark Hamill is trying to do his own Skeletor voice as much as it is he's kind of just doing the Joker again, and I'm just like, I love you, Mark, I do, but I don't think he was the perfect choice for Skeletor because Skeletor already had a unique voice. They should have got somebody to mimic that voice rather than someone who already has their own unique voice.
That's like getting what's his name, Patrick Warburton to do it. It's like, no, yeah, it's just weird. That's icky.
But yeah, it is a good show. I love it. A lot of people, were hating on it because I forget her name. It's been a while since I watched it. I watched it twice though. I don't know why I can't remember her name. But the main woman character in the He-Man universe, I forget her name at the moment, but she got a lot of focus. She was basically the main focus of the series for most of it. And naturally, a very particular group of men hated that.
Yep. Yep.
Despite the fact that it's called Masters of the Universe, not just He-Man.
Right.
But yeah, it was great. I'm excited for this. My problem is, and I talked about it before, it doesn't seem like She-Ra's going to be in it. And Hordak is the main villain. And Hordak is She-Ra's villain. And you're going to have a continuation to this universe without She-Ra. And again, like we talked about before, it's a whole rights thing with Maytel. I think, yeah, Maytel has the toy rights. DreamWorks. I think I misspoke last time I said that Maytel had the film rights. Or I mentioned some other studio. But it's Maytel has the toy rights. And they have the film rights to He-Man and obviously Barbie and all their other stuff and all their toys, but they sold the TV cartoon film rights for She-Ra to DreamWorks, and that She-Ra cartoon that was on Netflix was made by DreamWorks. And yeah, I just need them to come to some sort of deal with DreamWorks to get She-Ra in their show because it's so weird to have Hordak here without She-Ra.
Right.
And I really, really want another live action Master of the Universe movie with both of them in it. Master Universe is just fun and goofy. I like it.
Yeah.
The Witcher is getting another animated movie called Sirens of the Deep.
Really?
So they had one that I would actually suggest you watch. You don't need to know anything about the books or the game or the show. It's a prequel. You just need to watch it. It's good.
Oh.
It's animated by Studio Mir, which is a studio that did Legend of Korra and something else recently that I can't remember, but it was real good. This was a Nightmare of the Wolf is the name of the previous one they did. The new one, I'm not sure who's animated. It might still be Mir. I don't know, but it looks good. And Witcher, the low-key Nightmare of the Wolf, I'm not gonna hold you. I like The Witcher, especially the first two seasons. The third season, it was all right, but the first two seasons were good. But Nightmare of the Witch was leaps and bounds better than every season of Witcher so far. And I low-key think that they need to just stick to animation with The Witcher, especially if they're gonna recast. But they're not gonna do it because as much as Netflix, as we're about to talk about, and we're kind of talking about already with all the animated stuff that they make. I guess it's not Netflix as much as just the industry in general doesn't respect animation as much as they should.
Yeah.
Netflix tends to respect it. They make a lot of really good animated series, and but the animation as a whole doesn't really. But The Witcher excels in animation, so I have a feeling that this is going to be real good. And I can tell which part of the book they're adapting to, which I'm excited for. I love having read the book and being able to see in the show and the movies and the animated stuff going, I know what that's from. But yeah, they showed another trailer for I almost said Steven Universe. Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim.
And yeah, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off comes out this Friday, so excited for that.
Man,
we'll definitely be talking about that.
I got a whole bunch of
yeah,
stuff to do.
I'm almost finished with Scavengers Reign. 3 episodes left. I'll get to that later. What is it? And I ran through another show that I'm about to talk about right now, Blue Eye Samurai. But I still haven't checked out Pluto. And the reason I haven't watched Pluto yet is because the first episode is an hour and 11 minutes. It's so long.
Goodness gracious.
And every episode is an hour long. And I'm like, why are you doing this to me? And they released it all at once. If it was once a week, like I keep saying, if you release things once a week, I'll watch it. But if you release it all at once, it's going to be a while before I decide to sit down and watch it. It's intimidating. Same thing.
It's with, like I get overwhelmed.
Captain Laserhawk, mostly because I'm just not that excited for Captain Laserhawk, but it looks fun, and I'll check it out eventually. And the episodes are only 30 minutes long, so that makes me want to watch it more because it's shorter. But Pluto is the one I want to watch the most. But Blue Eye Samurai, which was another Netflix anime series I was excited for, came out and it was good. Do you remember the trailer for Blue Eye Samurai?
Of course I do. It looked fantastic.
So, what do you remember about it?
Girlfriend, I remember mostly the Blue-Eyed Samurai. Yeah. And it looked really good. My girlfriend got to watching it before I did, and she was like, "It's long," and I'm like, "Oh," she's like, "It's good," and I'm like, "Dang."
It's not really that long. It's like
in the first episode, like an hour long.
Yeah.
Or am I thinking of something else?
So every episode is around like 40 minutes long, but it's only 8 episodes. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. Like the episodes themselves are like 40.
The episodes are longer than usual, but I'm used to 40 minutes now because Arcane and Invincible episodes are also 40 minutes. I'm with the 40 minutes. Don't give me an hour. You can only give me an hour if it's the last episode, but don't give me an hour for every other episode. That's too much. But 40 minutes, I'm fine with 40 minutes for some anime series. Not all of them. I don't need all my animated series to be 40 minutes, but some of them. Fine. But this was just so good that I just ran through it. I watched it all. I just binged it. It was Blue Eye Samurai is amazing. The little synopsis of what the story is about is in 17th century Japan, Mizu, a half-Japanese, half-white samurai, rejected by Japanese society for being impure, seeks to avenge themselves on 4 white smugglers defying the Sakoku, which was the closure of the country to all foreigners back in the Edo period. One of whom may be her father.
Ooh.
Which I didn't mean to say that. That was low-key a spoiler, but not the father part. But
the fact that she's a girl.
Yes, I didn't mean to say that. But
I knew. It's okay.
I didn't know if you knew or not. I didn't mean to say that.
I knew.
Early yesterday, was going through my notes, moving any mention of the fact that she was a woman, and then I missed this one part because I had copy and pasted it like earlier today when I was finishing up my edits. But yeah, I guess it's not that. It's literally in the synopsis, like the short thing that they tell you like before you watch it. So
right,
that's like I think I try to think at what point in the show do you find out. I think it's the end of the first. I'm pretty sure it's the end of the first episode when they like fully reveal it, but it's kind of clear from the beginning. Like they aren't
Mm.
fully trying to hide it. They're like, you hear the voice and you look at their face and their body and you're like, is that a woman? I don't know. Maybe it's not. And then at the end they reveal it. But yeah, that's a big part of the story is that they're mixed and people think they're impure, but they're also women and trying to hide that. And naturally, the rights for women back in 17th century Japan were trash.
Oh yeah.
You needed a chaperone to go anywhere as a woman,
They
and
exist.
people's fathers were selling their daughters to be prostitutes, or if they were like a rich family off to be married so that they could increase their standing and wealth. It was wild time for women back in the day.
Very much.
So it makes sense why they would want to hide. um, but yeah, it was so good. The action's great. The story is amazing. I actually watched earlier this morning a little behind the scenes talk from like the creator about how they did the action, and that how the pre-production was pretty much like as if it was a live action show in terms of choreography.
Oh wow.
And then once they got into the actual production, of course they went to animation, and it's very interesting. Yeah. Oh yeah. Another thing I learned is that like I know I've seen it before about like of like Japanese women having black teeth, but I never knew why it was a thing. And then I learned it was to represent sexual maturity.
Hmm.
Again,
There's also
it was just messed
I
up
don't
back
know.
then.
Real. I don't know if this will come up at all in it, but there was also a thing. It's like the more space between the back of your neck and the back of your kimono is like it's like showing your ankle in Victorian times. It's like if there's more space back there, you're promiscuous or something like that. It's
Yeah,
very
I'm not sure if it
interesting.
came up or not, but yeah, you're probably gonna watch it if your girl is watching it. It's good. It's a good show. I definitely recommend it. Um, but yeah, there are 8 episodes, like you said, 40 minutes each. And by the time I got to the last episode, I was sitting there thinking, how are they going to wrap up all of these storylines in like an hour? And it turns out they never planned to. They actually have four seasons mapped out, but not greenlit.
Oh.
They're not greenlit though.
Oh
So watch
no.
it. Everybody go and watch it so that it gets greenlit because it's really good. And I want more. The way the story ended, I was just like, I need so much more. But yeah, you said that you started watching Scavengers Reign last we
I
talked.
did. I didn't get to any further in it because Metal Gear.
Fair enough. How long are you playing Metal Gear stuck with that first section?
3 days.
Crazy.
3 days straight. It's insane, but I will get past it. It's become personal now.
I have.
It's
So, do you
become
know
personal.
how to get to the actual pause menu, quote unquote?
I think so. Yeah.
Like you press both of the bumpers at the same time.
Nope. Didn't know that.
Yeah. It also does it if you like. I don't know, because you're playing on Switch, I assume.
Which. Yeah.
If I go to like if you go, can you like just go back to your home screen while you're in the middle of the game and then go back to the game? Okay.
Yeah.
If you do that and go back to the game, it'll also like go to that pause screen. I don't
Oh
know if you
yeah
made the
yeah
mistake
yeah
and done
yeah
that
yeah.
before.
Yeah. I have.
I didn't know how to just make it do that. I thought that was like, okay, the function is because it's an old game and you have to use all the other buttons for other stuff, that they make it possible for you to do that by pressing that button. You have the home button going back to the home. So I kept pressing my home button
Right.
whenever I wanted to pause it like that. And that also allows you to pause it during cutscenes.
Oh.
And I didn't know how to do it until I made a mistake and pressed both of the bumpers for I don't know why, and then it did that, and I was like, oh, that's how you actively go out of your way to make that happen.
Right.
But yeah, that game's good. I like Metal Gear, man. I'll never stop talking about it. But yeah, Scavengers Reign. I don't know how we started talking about Metal Gear, but how'd you like the first episode?
I like the first episode a lot. I really do like the visual style and just like all. I love it. It's just as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, like I said, the perfect like in between binge and weekly releases is releasing 3 episodes at a time. And that's what this one's doing. It's 12
Yep.
episodes long, and the last 3 came out. I'm on episode 10. Decided to get back into it and watch it. Yeah, yeah, it continues to be incredible in terms of art and story. Like I said, the planet the characters are stranded on is just as beautiful as it is dangerous. There's a certain level of horror to just how absolutely terrifyingly dangerous the wildlife and plants are on the planet. I don't remember how much they showed how scary the planet is in the first episode.
Right.
But it's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, the show's only gets better and some more wild stuff happens as it goes on. But yeah, we'll talk about that next episode. Invincible is back, season 2, and just as good as ever. It's fun trying to figure out like what storylines they'll cover in these 8 40-minute episodes. I believe there's going to be a break after the 4th episode, but because the episodes are like 40 minutes, sometimes I think a little bit longer. They just this is the only time I'm okay with episodes being so long in an anime series because I just want I just want Invincible all the time, and I get it because I'm reading it all the time now. Since the show is back, I finally got back into the comic, and good God, comic's so good. The comic, I'll tell you what, comic's more violent than the show. At least
really,
or maybe the show just hasn't gotten to the most violent part. I mean, the show definitely hasn't gotten to the most violent parts, but I feel like the show for sure cuts back on some of the violence. Whereas in the comic, first off, because it's a comic and still images, they can they can afford to put in more detail per actual gory moment. So naturally, it just looks worse in terms of gore. But it doesn't bother me very much. Honestly, I like the gore in the Invincible comic. it's fun, but it's a lot. So it's hard for me to suggest the comic to you. I don't know how you do about gore in comics specifically versus animation.
I'm actually better with gore in like because I like Chainsaw Man, right?
That's fair.
And like
but this is color,
I'm better.
So that might hurt it.
I used to read Chainsaw Man in color. Like I'm better with the still gore. It's seeing it in motion. I think that does it for me. So I'll probably check the comic. Yeah. But it's funny that you bring up the Invincible comic.
For me, it's a step further with the boys. As soon as it becomes realistic CGI, it becomes a problem for me.
Right.
So specifically when it comes to superheroes, like gore and almost anything else, I'm fine with it. But I just don't like gore with most of my superhero content. A little bit is fine, but a lot of it makes me uncomfortable.
That's real.
But sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, it's funny that you. No, you're fine. It's funny that you bring up the comics because, like I said, I went to Barnes and Nobles recently, did some shopping. I saw the physical like Invincible omnibus. Right. That thing was huge.
Yeah, I have the digital omnibus, and I'm reading it, and I'm reading a lot. I'm reading so much, and I finished up the second omnibus. I mean the first omnibus, and I'm in the middle of the second omnibus. But I went to check how many pages I have left, and I was like, "Good God, I'm only a little over halfway through, and there's still so much left in this omnibus." But yeah, and I mean it's a comic that ran for 15 years. Like it started in the early 2000s, and it ended in 2019. So yeah, there's a lot of it. But I was thinking about at some point in the future buying all of the volumes specifically physically, because. And I might do it a little differently. It's because something that I hate that the omnibuses don't have, that the volumes do have. Because at first, the way I started reading Invincible is that I was subscribed to Comixology, and they had the show was airing at the time, and that's why I started reading it. And on Comixology, they had hold on, I'm having a hard time explaining this. Let me restructure how I'm explaining.
Take your time. Take your time.
The show is airing naturally. And I've said it before. At first, I wasn't going to watch it because I thought it was just like The Boys but animated, which is far from the truth. It's not really that similar to The Boys outside of it just being superhero related and violent. Outside of that, it's nothing like The Boys. And so I decided, you know what? Let me read a synopsis online. I read a synopsis and then I got intrigued. And at the time, I happened to have a Comixology subscription, so I decided to see if it was free on there or no additional cost with that subscription, and it was. Because naturally, it's an Amazon show. Comixology is owned by Amazon, so they made it Invincible. The first couple volumes free, and in the volumes at the end, they have like the artist and the writer talking about the character designs and certain story moments, and like have early sketches of like some of the costumes and go into detail about it. And they don't have that stuff in the omnibus, and I hate it because I loved seeing that stuff. And I got to a part in the comic where Invincible changes his costume. And I remember when I was reading the volume, they got into it and talked about the costume change and the difference in it and all this other stuff. And I'm upset that that's not in the omnibus, and I want to get the volumes just so that I could read that stuff.
Right. That makes sense.
But yeah, if it, I would definitely suggest the comic. It's good. It's good. Definitely violent for anybody out there who is a little squeamish. Um,
I'll check it out.
but yeah, since we're in comics, let's talk about Poison Ivy. In the last issue I read,
Ooh.
Killer Croc helps Ivy escape a living construction site, uh, which came to life because the like owner made it out of this thing called, I think they call it green steel, which is like this like self healing steel or whatever. And like
Interesting.
there's nothing could ever go wrong with something like that. Um,
Right.
in a comic book of all places. Birds of Prey. The various members of the newly formed Birds of Prey break off to prepare for their mission to Themyscira to save Black Canary's little sister. But when Black Canary mentions that the mission is to break into Themyscira, everyone is immediately apprehensive. Be, because they don't want to fight Amazons. Not because Amazons are powerful warriors, but because despite their physical capabilities, Amazons are like some of the most loving and peaceful people on the planet. So they're like, hold on, wait a minute. I don't want to fight no Amazon. Chill out. But yeah, I'm excited for next issue because on what is it, DC Universe. I've talked about those times. They need to change their subscription model, but you have to subscribe for a year, which works for me because I'm always reading DC Comics. To get access to comics as they're coming out, and even then, you're always going to be a month behind. That's the way it works. That's them trying to get you to actually buy the individual comic for like $5, which is too much.
Yeah.
Too much for what is literally a chapter.
Yeah, no, like that's absurd.
Why would I pay $5 for a chapter? It's ridiculous. That's why I'm subscribed instead. But they need to lower the price. And yeah, that sucks. But I've seen like people post pages from the last issue of Birds of Prey, and there's a moment where naturally Wonder Woman steps in, and everybody's like, "Well, shit," because it's Wonder Woman. And there's like a little section where Black Canary is going like, "No, of course people are scared of Batman because it's Batman. They should be." And despite what everybody says, people are still scared of Superman because he's Superman. That makes sense,
right?
And then she's like, "But people aren't as scared of Wonder Woman as they should be because she's such a nice person. But they should be very scared because she's also very powerful."
Yeah, no, for real.
But yeah, speaking of Superman, we had the last issue of Superman, where Clark. Wait, was this Superman or Action Comics? This is Action Comics actually. In Action Comics, Clark interviews the leader of a xenophobic terrorist organization for the Daily Planet.
Interesting.
And in the interview, he correlates their hate of aliens to the hate of immigrants, and that's one of the many parallels to real life problems you can make with Superman. That his Jewish creators, whose parents fled from persecution by Nazis, purposely built into his mythos. That I feel like a lot of people who claim Superman's boring just aren't aware of his relation to immigrants and immigration in general. That's a real big part of his character. But at the very end of the story, we get a short story with Superboy titled "Super is as Super Does" by I'm gonna try to pronounce this name, Magdalene Visaggio. And
you got it.
So Superboy as having a crisis of identity as he talks to his girlfriend Miss Martian, which a lot of people were upset that he was dating Miss Martian because it wasn't a thing in the comics before, and the reason it's a thing in the comics now is because it happened in the Young Justice show, and people are like, "How dare they?" And it's like, calm down, it's not that deep. It's not like he had any like significant like relationships that truly mattered before now, and Miss Martian has been kind of MIA in the comics for a while, so it's like let it happen.
Yeah, put two and two together.
But yeah, she mentions how she can shapeshift, but it's exhausting to hold any form other than her natural one. But her normal form would freak people out, so she doesn't. And Superboy mentions that at least she can choose. And this was clearly meant to lead to the Superboy transitioning story that I mentioned a few weeks ago. That the writer of this short story was the person who pitched it and got turned down and ended up posting it to Twitter for everybody to see. And yeah, I'm mad that DC turned it down because this little what do they call them? Dang, there's a specific term for these little short stories at the end of a comic issue. Back issues. No, back issues is a term for like when you're buying a comic at a store. I forget, but whatever they're called, I'll figure it out eventually. I hate when I remember
and edit it in post.
I hate when I forget terms mid sentence. But yeah, I'm just mad that they turned down this story because it would have been interesting. It would have gave Superboy his own identity outside of being a Superman clone, and brought in a ton of new fans. And
Right.
like I said, Skyrocket is a dope name, and the costume was great.
And it's funny because, like, when you were describing that, I was like, that sounds like Nimona. Nimona is a trans allegory. Hold on.
Yeah, Miss Martian, the shape shifting person. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean I mean it's it's a thing where it's become a trope that some
Yeah.
people try to avoid of having the shapeshifter be a trans allegory because it's a little
But
too
it's
too
good.
cliche.
It's good though. Like, as a trans person, it's a good way to, like, portray that.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, I don't know. It's a good trope. Not every trope doesn't always have to be, like, a bad thing. And I think people get, like, caught up in that, where it's like, oh, because it's a trope, it's terrible. Like, a trope is it's what you do with the trope.
Yeah.
That makes it good or bad.
For sure. But I feel like for me, my opinion on it is I think that it's overdone. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's done too much because I feel like
Right.
it could also discount the fact that there are people who in real world like to, dress in ways that don't conform with the gender that they identify as, but they still identify as that gender. And I feel like
Right.
that you could also have shapeshifters, just what's the word I'm looking for? I'll represent those type of people as well.
Right. Gender non-conforming. That makes sense.
But another Superman comic, Superman Lost. Spoiler alert for anybody who's reading it, but I low-key forgot. I forgot that this happened. Oh my god. Oh Jesus Christ. I did as forgot. Oh my god, this is wild. So again, spoiler alert for the people reading this, but Lex Luthor gives Lois Lane cancer to try and break Superman. He gives her cancer to try and break Superman out of his depression from being stranded in space for 20 years.
I
forgot I wrote that. Oh my god.
Does it work?
We don't know. That's how the issue ended.
I
gotta wait till they release the next one.
So many questions. That's like that one storyline in Dragon Ball Z where, like, I think it's like Android 18 gives Goku, like, coronary heart disease or something. Yeah, like it's
so
insane.
Wild. Man, that sucks. Yeah, the ending was so sad. I looking forgot about it because the beginning, the ending open. I mean, the book ends the way it begins, and when it begins, it's like Superman's talking about how he's been going to go see a therapist or whatever, and Lois is like, yeah, that's cool, and she goes, I have something to tell you, and then she says I have something to tell you, and then he tells her about the therapist, and then she's like, okay, well I could just tell you later, and then they get into the rest of the story, and then eventually she tells you have cancer, and then they show that scene again, and I'm like, oh, that hit different. That hit so different.
Oh, that's terrible.
World's Finest Teen Titans. Aqualad and Speedy hang out with Kid Flash at his home in Nebraska, and Kid Flash's parents do not like Speedy because he's flaunting his money because he's his stepdad. Oliver Queen is rich. Green Arrow, and they don't like that he's spoiled. But the thing is, he's an orphan and he grew up poor,
right?
So he's kind of just enjoying like being rich
for
once.
Right.
But they think that he's kind of spoiled. And then Aqualad, who is Loki, gets bullied by Speedy for being a fish person. Like I said, Speedy has problems. He was an orphan. He grew up on the streets. He needs help. And a big part of the story that Aqualad points out to Kid Flash's parents, and the reason that Aqualad kind of takes Speedy's bullying in stride is because he knows that Speedy is having a hard time because Green Arrow is never really there for him, and he's too busy off being a hero, and doesn't make enough time for Speedy outside of that, and it's real sad, honestly.
That sounds sad.
But also, Speedy gives Aqualad some really good advice when it comes to his Aqualad's relationship with Wonder Girl, and Kid Flash is like surprised. He's like, you've been an asshole for so long. I didn't know you had good advice in you. I just didn't know you were capable of it. But yeah, and then Speedy just leaves in his limo because he's upset because he overheard Aqualad saying that to Kid Flash's parents. But yeah,
right.
It's why in the comics at a certain point Speedy ends up becoming a drug addict. And there's a whole big story arc about that in the Green Arrow comics about Speedy, and of course eventually he fights through it, comes back, becomes Red Arrow and Arsenal and all that. But yeah, I'm excited to see that like in live action because I love DC comics, man. There's so many good arcs that I also haven't read those comics. I've been meaning to read some of the older Green Arrow comics. But yeah. Last but not least, City Boy. I kind of fell off this comic for a while, and I'm a couple issues behind. So to refresh everyone from the last time I talked about it, Cameron Kim bonded with the sentient essence of Metropolis after being caught in the aftershock of a failed experiment. Now he has the ability to control the city itself and see everything the city has seen. Very interesting power. But it turns out that this sentient essence was meant to be used to terraform the Earth for Darkseid. But yes, City Boy's been fun so far, and Superman showed up at the end of the last issue. Makes me want to read the next one even more. Yeah. Anything you got for comics before we go to TV and film?
Just a quick thing. So I went to Enoch Pratt. I've been like in the library and in the bookstore a whole bunch. Enoch Pratt has physical editions of Trigun Maximum. Volumes 9 through 12 only. Oh, yeah. But I managed to get.
That's why I first read Trigun Maximum. Was at my local
library
when I was a kid. Yeah, that's why I first read Trigun Maximum, and they also did not have all of it. I ended up. That's why. That's literally why I never finished Trigun Maximum, because I read up to like volume 12. And
you were right at the end too.
And isn't there like only 2 volumes after that?
Yep, volume 13 and 14. Yeah. Dang, dude.
The cover of volume 12 is burned into my brain because I kept rereading it. It has Vash on it, and it's dark and purple, and his hair is starting to turn all black because I'm not.
I have it on me,
but
right now.
Yeah, I remember what that cover looks like because that was the last volume I ever read of Maximum. I need to finish Maximum.
That's so tragic. Do you listen off the record? There's this like team that did like a whole retranslation because the Dark Horse translation of Maximum is decent. It's not good, but it's decent. And there's this team that did a whole retranslation of it. Like all of the volumes. If you need the link to that, I can send that to you a little later.
Oh no, I bought all of it digitally on the Dark Horse app.
Excuse me.
I just
real. Just never got around to it
or finishing it. I started reading it. I just didn't finish it. I'm on like the 2nd or 3rd volume or something.
I checked out volumes 10, 11, and 12. 10 for very specific reasons that is spoilers that I won't get into. I wish I would have read it physically first because like the digitals, like they're there, but like having to turn the pages to like see the agonies, as I call them, it's like it's a whole different experience. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. The Loki, the Dark Horse app sucks. I wish it was better for reading Trigun.
It's because there's so many 2-page spreads in Trigun. That's the sucky part.
I Loki. I don't know if I said this before. I'm not a fan of 2-page spreads, personally.
Really?
I don't like them. And low-key, that's because I read digitally. And to me, 2-page spreads just... Actually, you know what? I take it back. I think they're okay. I don't hate them.
Right.
I think I don't like them in American comics, but I'm fine with them in manga because recently, I kind of found the perfect way for me to read manga, if that makes sense. Because I discovered that my tablet is... like, and I don't even have the biggest version of the iPad, but my tablet, the size of it, like, laid down, like, long ways... is low-key like the size of a manga fully opened up. So I started reading whenever I read manga, I read it I read it long ways so that I could have both pages, like 2 pages to look at once, as if I was reading a regular book. And to me, that's a better way for me to read the manga rather than 1 page at a time. Because reading it that big on a tablet, 1 page at a time is really strange. It looks like you can tell, like literally the fidelity of the photo is like a little bit pixelated because you can tell you're not supposed to read it this big.
Right.
You can tell you're not supposed to be reading this comic that big. So I started reading it like that, and it makes it easier to view 2-page spreads. But 2-page spreads in American comics, I gotta turn a tablet, or I don't know, I gotta zoom in to read text, and I was like, I don't want to have to do this.
It's just like a whole thing. I get you.
In manga, I'm still not the biggest fan of 2-page spreads, but like every now and again. But when it happens too much, and I think it happens too much in Trigun, like too many two-page
Yeah,
spreads.
there's a lot.
Tone down
There's
the
a
two-page
lot
spreads.
of two-page
And
spreads.
yeah, this is why I hate the Dark Horse app, because you can't, if you turn it on its side, it won't show you two pages at once. It'll just zoom into a single page.
That's dumb.
It's very stupid. I don't understand why that's a thing. Show me two pages at once. It would be the easiest way for me to read that book, but they won't let me.
Right. They won't let me. That's real.
That's all I got for comics. Moving on to TV and film.
Yeah, same.
The strike is over for
Yay!
at least 3 years. After 118 days, SAG-AFTRA had struck a 3-year deal with studios, ending the actor strike. And you know the writer strike with the WGA ended a few weeks back. So the deal includes two very specific things I want to talk about. One is a streaming participation bonus, which the wording's weird, but when I explain it, it'll make sense.
Okay.
And naturally, some regulations on AI, some of which may surprise you. The streaming participation bonus is a 75% bonus to the residuals that actors make if their show is successful, and a 50% bonus for writers. And they define successful meaning that it attracts views amounting to the equivalent of 20% of a platform's subscriber base in the first 90 days.
Got you.
So all of the shows that have been doing very well for a very long time that actors and writers should have been getting residuals on, but through the legalities that have come with streaming services becoming a thing, have been essentially stealing money from those people. They'll now be starting to make the amount of money they should be for their shows doing well on these streaming services, which is a big reason why they started striking. And the AI regulations require consent for performers getting digital scans on each film, as well as getting consent from an estate if an actor has died, which you would think that was already the case, but for some reason it wasn't.
Yeah, that's weird.
But yeah, this strike has shown the general populace just how scummy these studios are. The fact that they held out for so long just to give them these very basic things. Now it's animation and video games terms, because and low-key like CGI houses need to do so as well, because
No, yeah, for real.
all three of those, the animation industry in general, whether it comes to CGI or making video games, all of it just needs to they need to strike.
Yeah.
I'll take some break on some. I don't mind games getting delayed for that. And
same.
We already had movies and TV shows getting delayed for months. What helped me over in that time was animation. Now that I have those back, animation, y'all can strike while I watch live action TV.
Right.
But yeah, it's good to hear. Hopefully it lasts forever and only gets better, and that the other industries can do the same. Other industries in this, entertainment field.
Yes.
But yeah, there was a trailer for Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, releasing spring 2024. What's your experience with Ghostbusters?
Excuse me. I watched the first film. That's it.
Yeah, I watched the first two films. When I was younger. I haven't seen them in a while. I've been meaning to rewatch them. I did watch Afterlife sometime earlier this year. It was a good movie. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I watched the first one a long time ago when I was a child, and then rewatched it recently, but drunk. That was really fun, by the way. Like watching the first Busters while like pissed drunk. It was really fun. Other than that, I haven't seen any rest, and any of the rest. Goodness gracious. And then like I heard about the 4 female Ghostbusters, but didn't really. I wasn't into it enough to like care.
Nobody was. It was a weird choice. But yeah, in this movie, the Spengler family returns to the iconic New York City firehouse where the original Ghostbusters have taken ghostbusting to the next level. When the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters, new and old, must unite to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. Yeah, it looks fun. I'll probably see it in theaters when it comes out, especially if I hear it. If it gets some good reviews. The most experience I have with Ghostbusters is with the Ghostbusters video game on PS3. That was like a unofficial sequel to the story from the movies. That was really good. It was co-op, and I used to play with my brothers a lot when I was a kid. It was really fun. They actually remastered it for like modern consoles not too long ago. I might have to replay it with my younger brother one of these days. Because I never beat it, but I got close. because I think like the last level was just
Ooh.
hard and it had weird save data, or like we didn't know how to save properly, so we had to keep starting over or whatever. So I just never beat it.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Real. Real.
at the Netflix Geeked event, we also got some live action stuff that I wanted to talk about. First being live action Avatar got a proper teaser trailer. Um,
Hmm.
I was gonna say proper trailer, but it's not a proper trailer; it's a teaser. And yeah, CGI landscapes look good. We saw Omashu, we saw
Hmm.
Fire Kingdom. It looked like it was the capital. We saw Avatar Roku. Is it called Roku Island? That
I
Crescent
think it
Island.
is Roku Island.
Um,
Something like that.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's something like that. But yeah, we saw some iconic places from the show. Omashu looks good. I mean, all of it looked good, but Omashu especially looked really good.
Yeah, really good.
And I wonder what the actual sets are going to look like, because showing CGI landscapes is one thing, but I want to know what the sets are going to look like.
Right.
But yeah, it looks like they're at least putting some proper time and money into it. But since it was a teaser, I didn't really get to see enough to get me excited. You know, I want to see it. I hope it's good, even if I think it's completely unnecessary. It's happening. There's nothing I can do about that, so I hope it's good. Releases February 22nd. What'd you think?
I'm I'm excited for it. I know there's been a lot of like mixed opinions, but it looks good to me personally, and it's like a thing of if it's good, great. If it's bad, even better because we can make fun of it on the internet. It's like as long as it's not as bad as the M Night Shyamalan movie, I will be satisfied.
Yeah, I was, like someone said on Twitter, like best case scenarios is it's as good as the original, but it's like there's no like that's all it can be. It can only be as good. It can't be better. So it's like
Right.
what's like it's like to me it's just like there's no point. But I don't know. I still want to see it. So
Yeah. Same.
it'll be fun. Something else is happening that I'm not as like for me I'm never as upset about most live action anime adaptations. Honestly, I am very interested to see a lot of anime be adapted in live action.
Hmm.
And we're
Yeah.
getting Yu Hakusho adapted in live action, and
Yeah.
honestly, it looks kind of good. If not,
It does.
from
It
the
does.
from the trailer at the very least, a little overly serious. Yu Hakusho has a kind of humor that has kind of become iconic um amongst fans of the show, that I'm like, if you don't
Hmm.
nail that humor, you're gonna be missing a lot of the show's personality. Um,
Yeah.
so I hope it has that comedy that it has, that kind of like sarcastic comedy that Yusuke tends to have. But
Right.
otherwise, it looks visually really good. The action looks great. The
It
sets look
does. It
great.
does.
Costume design looks great. Only thing I don't like is that I feel like Japan never commits to actually giving like properly adapting pompadours in live action.
Yeah.
Never.
No. For real.
Whenever they do a live action adaptation and there's a character with a pompadour, they never actually give them a full on sticking out pompadour. Like give my man
Right. They chicken out
Kuwabara
on it.
the pompadour he deserves. Like what is it? I'm trying to remember what maybe they did in the JoJo Part 4 live
They
action.
didn't. They
Because
didn't. They did
yeah,
not.
in my mind, I'm trying to remember because I was like, I don't remember them giving him a good one, but I'm gonna look it up real quick
Yeah, they cheaped out on Josuke's pompadour so bad.
because they I just need like some proper pump. No, I mean he actually has one though. That's what I'm talking about. Like they always give them
That's
like
fair.
not the big over exaggerated pompadours. I like this because it's the over exaggerated pompadour. That's what I want to see. It looks like it looks ridiculous, and that's the point. And Kuwabara
Yeah.
doesn't have the ridiculous pompadour I think he should have. But yeah, moving on. Here's a big one: live action Legend of Zelda movie. So
Yes.
Nintendo posted this quote from Miyamoto on the Twitter. I think this is how I first found out about it, or this was the first big piece of
Mm.
information I saw about it, or official piece of information I saw about it after I heard, people just bringing it up randomly. Um,
Mhm.
Miyamoto said, "I have been working on the live-action film of The Legend of Zelda for many years now with Avi Arad-san, who has produced many mega-hit films and some bad ones, but that's besides the point. I have asked Avi-san to produce this film with me, and we have now officially started development of the film with Nintendo itself heavily involved in the production. It will take time until its completion, but I hope you look forward to seeing it. The film is produced by Nintendo and Arad Productions and directed by Wes Ball. The film will be co-financed by Nintendo and Sony Pictures, with more than 50% financed by Nintendo. The
Ooh.
theatrical distribution of the film would be done worldwide by Sony Pictures Entertainment. But yeah, the fact that they
Nice.
themselves have so much of their hand in it makes me less concerned.
Yeah.
Even though low key the worst scenario in this situation to me still isn't great. It's still better than nothing, which I think is like it could be like Mario, where it's fun but it's not that good. And to me, that's okay, and I'd accept it, but I wouldn't like it. But I don't think this will be that because as much as I hate to say it, I think that this movie being live action means that it'll have a slightly more serious tone than Mario. For a long time, as we discussed not too long ago, animation has been seen as a children's medium when it comes to big budget films specifically. Because in animation, we have a lot of adult cartoons, in both like anime and American cartoons. But when it comes to big budget films, they'll have some adult jokes, but for the most part they'll be, we don't get like Invincible level violence in animated films. And I think that Nintendo is trying to make their equivalent of the Lord of the Rings trilogy with this Zelda movie and its potential sequels. And that makes me a little excited, but also upset at what seems like a slight against animation as a medium. But of course, I could be wrong. I could be reading into it too much. But to me, that's what it feels like. It feels like they are going to make the Legend of Zelda movie that we want. That's not as goofy and referential as Mario. But they feel like they needed to do it in live action to give it more of a serious weight, which I think is, obviously very disrespectful to animation. And they could have still done that in animation, but I could be making that up. What do you think? How do you feel about it overall?
I don't know. I'm just like the live action in general, right?
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. Zelda is a property that's very near and dear to my heart. It was one of the first video games I had ever played on my own. And it's like I said, very near and dear to my heart. Like, I want a Zelda movie. I don't know if I want a live action Zelda movie, and I think 80% of that for me is the casting. I am terrified to see who they're gonna pick.
Yeah, so
I've seen.
No, what were you gonna say?
I've seen a lot of rallying around Hunter Schafer as Zelda. I agree. She probably would make a pretty good Zelda.
See,
but
for me, I think that they should start with them being young. I want Kid Link in this first movie, and we can go to him getting older as it goes along. But I want them to start with Kid Link and Kid Zelda. I want them both to be young, and I want Link specifically. I think Link should be played by a lesser known actor.
Right.
That way,
yeah.
that way they get to define the character rather than the actor defining the character themselves. You know what I mean? Whereas with Zelda and Ganon, I think you can hire more popular actors or whatever, or well-known actors, since those are characters that already have established voices and personalities. I think it's okay to hire well-known actors for those roles. But for Link specifically, I need it to be someone that we don't really know, so that they themselves can define who this character is, who Link is in live action.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm scared. I think as more comes out about it, I'll have more concrete feelings. But as of right now, I'm just I hope it's good.
But yeah, I want to talk about this one thing. Once again, I've become a Redditor. It just happened someday.
Oh dear.
And it's fun though. Sometimes actually. I don't know if I talked. Well, I did bring it up, but Castlevania Reddit is crazy. With a lot of racism and sexism because of Annette. But otherwise, I tend to avoid most of the drama on Reddit and just have a good time. But I made a Reddit post about Link being like Spider-Man, and that may sound wild, and I purposely worded it that way to get attention. But so I'm just noticing there's way more comments on this than there was last time I checked. Wow.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna have to read those.
Oh boy.
There's probably some people getting upset because naturally, sometimes people don't read the whole thing. They just see the title, read the first paragraph, and then move on. But here's what I mean by that. I don't think that Link being the vessel of the player works in a movie like it does in a video game. Naturally, I believe
Right.
that Link needs to be a very distinct character with his own unique personality and goals in the movie, but relatable in the way that Spider-Man is. And what I mean by that is in the Spider-Man movies, especially more recently in the Spider-Verse movies, anyone can wear the mask has become synonymous with Spider-Man, and it's meant to represent that anyone can do good with great power if they truly want to. And that, coupled with the humble beginnings that both Peter and Miles come from, makes it easy for us to imagine ourselves in their shoes. Um, Link should stand for something similar with the Triforce of Courage. Courage is something that anyone can have or build up within themselves, and Link should inspire that in everyone that watches the film. He should be his own person, but we should be able to imagine ourselves doing what he does, because he comes from humble beginnings but managed to defeat the Demon King and save the kingdom because he had the courage to try. And I added a little edit here that a lot of people I know didn't read, which is the Spider-Man comparison is in relation to making Link a character anyone can imagine themselves as while still being their own person. I am not saying he should have any Spider-Man specific characterization outside of representing an ideal. Again, I did this to get attention. But the reality is Superman would have been a better example. Because Superman is a character that obviously you can't be Superman. Superman is an alien who came to Earth and, has all these amazing abilities, but he still represents an ideal that we all can strive for, hope, And I think that's what Link can be. Somebody argued, and I agree with them, that similar to Superman, they didn't mention Superman, I use Superman as an example to back them up, was that Link, not anybody can be Link because Link is a reincarnation of a very specific, soul, right? So naturally, technically, not anybody can be Link unless they make some changes to the story. So, but that doesn't change the fact that his courage could still be an inspiration. And also, a lot of versions of Link does start off from humble beginnings as like a farmer. Right?
Yeah.
So sometimes Link does start as someone that anybody can relate to because he is like he's a low
just
class
some
person.
guy.
He's just some guy who just happens to have the reincarnation of this hero inside of him. And he doesn't start off heroic. He goes in and kind of forces himself to be heroic and eventually builds courage that way. That's always been a big part of his character. So I think the Spider-Man comparison still works in that sense. That in the games, Link isn't really supposed to be, especially more recently and early on. I feel like in those middle stages, he was a more defined character, but more recently and especially early on, he was meant to be an audience surrogate. We were supposed to be Link. That's why Link is androgynous.
And that's why you can name him in all the games. That's or most of them anyway.
Yeah,
up until
you're supposed to imagine yourself as Link, and Link usually doesn't have a personality, and any personality that people think he has, it's because that's what you kind of made up based off of what you saw. And that can't really be done in a movie. He has to have his own personality. But he can be like Spider-Man, who has his own distinct personality, but we still imagine ourselves being Spider-Man.
Right.
And that's what I was trying to get at. And that's the direction I think they should take Link.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check those comments. Those a lot more comments than I remember there being. I just probably because I haven't opened Reddit in a couple of days, but yeah. Yeah, that's all I got about the Legend of Zelda movie. If you don't have anything.
Nope, I don't have anything else.
Okay,
just I'm scared about it.
Moving on to superhero fatigue. All right. So, Variety's cover story for the first week of November was Crisis at Marvel, Jonathan Majors' backup plans, the Marvel's reshoots, reviving original Avengers, and more. So, they mentioned superhero fatigue on the cover, and I said it once, and I'll say it again. Superhero fatigue doesn't exist. But genre fatigue does. But, again, superhero isn't a genre. Superheroes are characters that can fit into a variety of genres. The problem is that Marvel has become a machine that churns out the same kind of movies as often as they can. And they need to slow down and branch out. And bringing back all of the old cast members is not the answer. But I'll get to that at the end. So Jonathan Majors, who's playing Marvel's next big villain, Kang the Conqueror, is caught up in domestic abuse allegations. They're considering making Doctor Doom the villain of the next Avengers movie instead of just recasting Kang. As it was set up in both Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania and Loki, Kang is a variant of many who will go to war over control of all time. That is eventually what they're leading up to with the next Avengers movie. So they
Right.
already have an easy out to recast him. It's already been proven that despite the ending of Quantumania showing that a lot of the King variants look just like Jonathan Majors, that variants can look different and just straight up be different people. Kang also isn't even his real name. So they can just make King a title that someone else takes up. It's not that hard to replace this man after what he's done. Like, truly.
Really not.
Literally, his whole story is that he's one of many. Automatically, you have the easiest out in the world.
No, for real.
And they're just finding whatever reason to keep an abuser on the cast list. Like, come on, get him out of here.
Get this guy out of here.
But yeah, Captain Marvel's second movie, The Marvels, is
Mm-hmm.
projected to not do very well in the box office
Oh,
by Marvel standards
tragic.
and in comparison to the budget itself. Well, we also have to take into consideration that the actors were not allowed to advertise it until 2 days before the movie released, when the actor strike ended.
That's.
If they were on their usual press tour, more tickets probably would have been sold. Granted, it probably still wouldn't have made as its budget back.
Right.
But even then, Marvel does need a wake up call that their cookie cutter approach isn't working. They got to start losing some money for them to realize that. Unfortunately, money talks,
Mm-hmm.
and I just hate for it to be at the expense of one of the only woman led Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Of the dozens upon dozens, there's so many of these movies now. There's only been 3 woman led Marvel movies. The first one being Captain Marvel, then we have Black Widow, and then we have this, which is starring 3 women, which is great. But this movie not doing as well as people would have hoped it would is going to give so many sexist MCU fans the ammo they need to just shit on these characters unnecessarily.
Yeah.
The Blade movie has been going through a lot of issues resulting in Mahershala Ali almost leaving his role as the titular character of Blade.
Oh.
Because
Wow.
he would have been playing not second, not third, but fourth fiddle in the story.
The main titular character
would have not been the focus of the movie.
This. Oh.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Oh goodness.
They got this extremely famous actor to play this amazing character. It's just a black man killing vampires. Come on, that's all it is. How is it so hard for you to get this right? But yeah, hopefully I need this movie. I like Blade, and I need more Blade. We haven't had Blade in so long, and I need Wesley Snipes to make a cameo. Loki, I think Wesley Snipes should play Whistler, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I want this movie. Hopefully he stays, and nothing happens in the meantime that makes him actually leave, and that this movie comes out and that it's good, because Marvel, they've just been messing up, And
They happen.
It sounds like they're about to bring back some dead characters to try and save their asses. And
that's not gonna work.
Completely unnecessary, because here's the thing. Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow are not like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. They aren't the Trinity of Marvel. And before those movies, those characters weren't even well known or that popular.
Right.
So it's like you can easily still have an extremely successful MCU without those characters. Their stories are over. They're done. They're gone. Captain America may still be alive and show up in the future, but Iron Man, Black Widow, they're dead. Okay, something I really want for these live action versions of these comic book universes, are for them to do something that the comics can't do, which is have time pass and move on, characters die, torches being passed on, other people taking up mantles permanently, because in real life these actors will pass away and die and will have no choice but to actually move on. And because of that, these universes have to also actually move on. And that's what I want to see in live action. I want to see these actual time pass and things change, rather than always go back to the status quo like they do in the comics. And don't ruin that by bringing back these characters.
There's no point to it.
And the reality is, a lot of Marvel's biggest characters aren't even on the big screen yet in the X-Men. So you still have the chance to get people back. The X-Men is their trump card. The moment the X-Men come back, everybody's going to come back with them. and they know that.
And I'm one of those people.
Exactly.
I want more X-Men movies. Like that's I think we talked about this on the cast before, but like X-Men is the only Marvel property I care about. So it's like as soon as they come back, I'm all for it. All this other these other characters, I don't care.
And the
Like
problem is,
there's too
you could care.
there's too much.
You could.
I could.
Because they
I
have
really
a lot
could.
of really dope characters that they're starting to push to the forefront, but they just aren't doing the proper job of really, one, making good projects, but also just, selling these characters to the people like they did with all the other ones.
Right.
But, as much as it sucks to see this happening to a franchise I love, it's a lesson to the interest. It's a lesson that the industry needs to learn. And as a comic book fan, it's nothing new. Comic books go through messy eras like this all the time. This is par for the course of comic books, so it's whatever. It'll get better. They'll learn their lesson as long as people stop paying them.
Right.
But moving on with Marvel, we have 3 other Marvel things to talk about. Echo is a Disney Plus series that will also be on Hulu because Disney owns majority stock in Hulu, because Fox owns majority stock in Hulu, and they bought Fox. I still understand how they were allowed to do that, but
that's strange.
Echo is a character that showed up in the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus, and they are getting their own series coming out January 10th on Disney Plus and Hulu. And weirdly enough, they're releasing all of the episodes at once. Again, I hate that. Why are you doing that? Stick to your usual thing, one at a time. And naturally, when you hear that, your first thought is, oh, they aren't confident in this. They're releasing it on Hulu and all at once. They don't think this is going to do well. And I feel like that's the case. But I have hope because it has more of a Netflix Daredevil vibe, which to this day is probably still the best comic book show of all time. So for me, it was Doom Patrol until season 3 sucked. But because season 3 and 4 haven't been hitting that hard, it's Daredevil, because Daredevil every season hits. But yeah, this will be the MCU's first TV MA series. There will be blood. There will be violence. Wow. There will be sex. There will be stuff that we don't usually get in this type of stuff.
Wow.
And what is it? The director teased, Sydney Freeland, the director teased that Echo will not have the powers that she has in the comics. She says her power in the comic books is that she can copy anything, any movement, any whatever. What? I'm sorry. I don't know why she wrote it like that, or she said it like that, but she says that it's lame and that it won't be her power in the show. And to that I say, then why make this show about her at all if all we're going to do is change the character? She's a street level hero. She doesn't need anything more than that. She's fighting regular people. She's not fighting gods. They have this weird thing that they want to make the street level heroes more powerful than they need to be. They did it with Moon Knight. Moon Knight is a street level hero. People like to call him Marvel's Batman because he's similar in a lot of ways, but in most ways he's nothing like Batman. He's a rich guy who fights crime on the streets of New York. But they made him this super like aspect of the like, this is a thing in the comics that the Egyptian god of the moon gives him like abilities, but not to the extent that they give him powers in this. Like in the Moon Knight show, they give him basically a Wolverine healing factor where he can just take a bunch of damage for no reason. And a big part of his character is his split personalities, and it's really cool. Moon Knight's a cool character. I've read one of his comics after watching the show, and they're good, and they're much more grounded than the show was. And the show should have been more like something like Daredevil, but it wasn't. It was this super across the world Indiana Jones type adventure, and I'm like, it should have just been in New York, more grounded.
Yeah,
just beating people up. And eventually he could have went to Egypt, but him going across the world was weird. And yeah, it seems like this will be more grounded than that, but I don't know, man. Maybe the change won't be that as big as she's saying it is, and I want this to be good. I do, but Marvel they don't have my faith right now. They have this really weird dismissive approach when it comes to the source material that I hate. The source material is why we have this universe, and will continue to be why we have this universe, because they still do pull from comics as they come out, because good comics are still coming out. What is it? DC is going to make a movie based off of a Supergirl comic that came out last year. Or it might have been a year before that, but still, that's hella recent that comic came out.
Yeah.
Adapting Supergirl One of Tomorrow, which is one of the best comics I've read in my life. It's real good. I suggest it. But yeah, like, come on. Echo will also be the first series under the Marvel Spotlight banner, which is specifically for more grounded street level heroes. So that gives me, I want that to be good. I want that to be a thing. I want them to do more stuff like this with the street level. Because I've said it before, my favorite parts of Marvel are street level. It's weird what my favorite, because it's the lowest to the ground street level, and then the cosmic side. Those are my two favorite parts of Marvel. The in between stuff I don't care about.
Right.
But I like the cosmic side. I like Thor and all that, and I like Daredevil and Spider Man. Those are my favorite parts of Marvel. And this is touching one of them because Echo first appears in a Daredevil comic. That's what she did.
Right.
So, and Daredevil will be in the show, and I like me some Daredevil. So, hope it's good. It comes out relatively soon. Loki ended the season finale. Potentially the series finale.
Oh wow.
Loki is that different thing that Marvel needs. Loki's different. It hit different. It's a different story from anything else. You know, it's not just that cookie cutter stuff. It's the only show of all of them, other than I think WandaVision, which I really liked, but ultimately that arc had a very dissatisfying ending in the Multiverse of Madness. But that's besides the point. Other than WandaVision, which I liked a lot, none of the other Marvel shows really felt like they were meant to be shows. They felt like they were movies that were cut up into episodes. Loki, though, like I said, I thought the first season was boring. It got better towards the end, but it was still all right. But this season was great. It was so good, and it does feel like it could be the end. Tom Hiddleston, the actor that plays Loki, has hinted at this could potentially be the end of his 14-year run as Loki.
Oh wow!
But I do doubt this will be the last time we see him. I just think that he'll make smaller cameos in the future after what happened in the finale.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
But last but not least in TV and film, The Marvels. I went to go see it on Saturday. And it has a middling critic score and a high audience score, and that makes sense because it's not bad, and definitely has some really fun moments, but it wasn't anything special. I like the characters: Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, Miss Marvel. Even though I hate that they changed Miss Marvel's powers, just like they're about to do to Echo. Like they drastically changed Miss Marvel's power. Her power in the comic, is that she is stretchy. Well, no, her power is to embiggen, and in doing so, she can stretch. She can make herself bigger. She can also has a slight healing factor due to it, the way she can manipulate her body, and she can shapeshift.
Right.
Those are her powers. In the show, they just turned her into Green Lantern. That makes no sense. How do you go from Mr. Fantastic to Green Lantern? How do you Where's the correlation?
Where's the connection? Yeah.
And they do still like using the heart light construct power, make her like stretch her limb, not her actual limbs, but like stretch the light in the shape of a fist to try and mimic that power, but it's not the same.
Nope, lame. Lame.
It's such a stupid
not
change.
Not the same at all.
And the reason they did it was to connect her powers to Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau, who both have energy-based powers, which has never been a thing that needed to happen. They could have still. All you had to do was write a different story to make it work. That she somehow ends up working alongside them, even though she has powers nothing like them, like theirs. You know, stupid change, very stupid change. But yeah, the movie it was alright. It was nothing. It was nothing special. I don't know. It felt very hollow. Like I don't really know how to explain it. Maybe it's because it's still that same formula that just doesn't hit the same. I can't really put my finger on it. It's just it was mid. And I like the cosmic side of the MCU, like I just said, of Marvel in general. It's one of my favorite parts. So I want this to do good, but it wasn't that good. And the movie may have been mid, but the mid-credit scene was not. Spoiler alert. Do you care?
Nope, don't.
Good. I'm going to spoil the hell out of this end-credit scene. Spoiler alert, once again, for the people who care. So Monica had to close a tear in reality at the end of the movie that resulted in her being thrown into a different universe, where her mother is alive. And actually, interesting thing about her, because there's some good emotional beats in the movie that I like, but like I said, the way it was put together just wasn't very interesting to me. Where when the blip happened, which is what they call it in universe, when Thanos snapped and everybody, half the people turned to dust. She was one of the people that turned to dust, and her mother was dying of cancer when that happened. So when she came back, her mother had passed away, and it was sad.
That is very sad.
But she went to a universe where her mother's still alive. Not only she's still alive, but she's a superhero named Binary, which is a name that Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, used to go by at one point in the comics. And also in Multiverse of Madness, her mother also shows up in that. The actress Lashana Lynch, where in that universe, she became Captain Marvel instead of Carol.
Ooh.
So this is the second time we've seen her in this universe, but essentially as Captain Marvel. But not only that, that's not even the big part by a long shot. And she was, you're gonna like this. She was under medical examination by none other than Beast from the X-Men. Specifically, the Fox version, because the theme song from those movies played, which I love the theme song from the Fox movies. I like it more than the cartoon theme. But
right.
And
which cartoon theme are you talking about? Hold on.
One from the 90s. I'm not gonna hold you. I like the movie theme better. But
wow.
I'm not saying it's bad.
Wow.
I just like the movie theme song better. But yeah.
I know, but it's like the cartoon's a classic. I'm looking at you differently now.
I don't think that cartoon holds up very well. But
we're gonna have to have a conversation about that when I see you next.
that cartoon has not aged very well at all.
Yeah, okay. I have to give you that.
I'll give it to you that it was great for its time, but it hasn't aged very well. I tried to watch it, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
That's real.
I watched a little bit when I was a kid, but maybe if I watched a lot of it when I was a kid, I would have more nostalgia for it and would think differently. But I don't know. I have a lot of nostalgia for Batman animated series, but it legitimately, I just think it holds up extremely well. I think that's
real.
A kid today could watch that show and think it's the best thing ever. And just adults could still watch it and enjoy it a lot. Whereas I don't think it's the same. If you hadn't seen it when it was a kid, you're not gonna really enjoy the X-Men cartoon from the 90s as much as you did when
real
other people did. But yeah, he was CGI because the actor who played him, Kelsey Grammer, is older, and he was old back when he came out. So he looks, but coincidentally, actually, the way they made him look, he looks more like the version of the character from the 90s cartoon, in terms of the way they designed his CGI self.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, we're gonna get X-Men soon.
I hope so.
We're going to get X-Men soon because Deadpool is gonna have Wolverine in it. And that's coming out soon. And they started filming that again now that the strike's over. So excited for that.
Right.
Deadpool movies have always been great. I've been meaning to rewatch them. But yeah, last but not least, video games. I thought that we wouldn't have much, but we have one big thing and one small thing. Omniman's out, and
yes,
I regret buying the deluxe edition or whatever they called it. Because I get the first combat pack, but I haven't really been playing a game like that, Mortal Kombat, because the story just it just made me not want to play it. I'm talking about it. I don't like the story, and now I'm like, I don't even want to. I'm gonna play it a little bit just to play with Omni-Man, because I got the combat pack. I might as well, get my money worth. And I haven't even played online because I didn't care. Yeah, I didn't play this nearly as much as I did Street Fighter when it came out. Because Street Fighter, I low-key, it was the opposite with Street Fighter. I played a little bit of the story mode, but didn't care about it and just played online. With this one, I played the story mode because that was what I was most excited for. Hated it, never played online.
Right.
But what we're really going to talk about is the Game Award nominees.
Yes.
That were announced earlier today. So, I'm going to skip I'm going to skip some of them, like the esports stuff. Nobody give a goddamn about esports. But yeah. So, here's what we got. For best debut indie game, we have Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Vinva, and Viewfinder. I only know about 2 of these, which is Viewfinder and Cocoon. Never played either of them, but they both, actually, surprisingly enough, are similar in the sense that you enter different worlds through things. I haven't played any of them. So I feel like I shouldn't even choose. But I think I'll probably be forced. And if I had to choose, I'd probably go with Cocoon. It looks cool.
Gotcha.
I've seen.
It's funny because I'm on the exact opposite side. I've heard of Viewfinder and Pizza Tower, and I didn't like Viewfinder. So,
Viewfinder's cool.
I mean, I liked it. I just didn't really like the dialogue and whatnot. Like the concept is cool, but the voice acting just it was a huge turn off for me. Yeah.
But if you had,
it's a neat game, but
would it just be the one that you know?
Yeah, absolutely, just Pizza Tower.
Cool.
That game is fantastic. It's a love letter to the Wario Land series, and I'm a very big Wario Land fan.
Yeah. So for best community support, we have Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk
Mm-hmm.
2077, Destiny 2,
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky, you know what I'm going to choose. You know it. This
I do.
game has been supported since it came out and made to be the perfect game that I put over 100 hours in the course of 2 weeks. So, of course, I voted for Cyberpunk 2077 for best community
Right.
support. This was a game that wasn't even supposed to get as much support as it did, but unfortunately, it released unfinished, and they perfected it in that time. But Baldur's Gate 3 probably gonna win.
Yeah, definitely.
uh, for best audio design, we have Alan Wake 2, Dead Space,
Mm-hmm.
Hi-Fi Rush,
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Spider-Man 2,
Mm-hmm.
and Resident Evil 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Hi-Fi
personally gonna
Rush
go
has
with
it.
no. It doesn't. I don't think Hi-Fi Rush has it at all. And here's the thing: the reason I say that is because one, it's Hi-Fi Rush. Don't get me wrong. There is one of the categories that I vote for Hi-Fi Rush for, and you'll understand why. You're gonna understand
Right.
why as soon as I name the category. But
Right.
Hi-Fi Rush, it's obviously it's a character action rhythm game, and that's cool. Loki, I think
Yeah.
that there should be a Spider Punk game like this because he fights with a guitar too. That would be really cool. But
Mm-hmm.
besides the point, Dead Space.
Right.
Everything about Dead Space is about the sound. Dead Space
Okay, fair.
is the reason I bought a pair of headphones, a board of PlayStation's headphones, because I wanted to be able to really immerse myself into
That
the
makes sense.
horror games. Dead Space's audio design. Dead Space audio design is a big part of why it's so scary,
Right.
because they literally have like kind of somewhat procedurally generated sound effects that play. I'm not lying. Sometimes they will give you a sound effect that usually plays when you're being attacked just to scare you. It's you're not being
Oh, that's
attacked. Yeah,
terrible.
they mess with your head, and that's also a bit of a part of the story as well. So the sound design in Dead Space is amazing. Resident Evil 4 is a great game, but it doesn't have like the greatest sound design. Like horror games tend to have amazing sound design. That's why Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, and Resident Evil 4 are here. But Resident
Right.
Evil 4 doesn't have like nearly as good sound design as Dead Space. Dead Space wins for that for me easily. Dead Space is great. I love Dead Space. But best art direction. Yeah, this is the one. Alan Wake
Yeah.
2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Now, Legend of Zelda is probably gonna win, but I
Yeah.
think Hi-Fi Rush should win. Because I think if there's any category here that I think that they deserve to win, it's this one. Hi-Fi Rush
Definitely.
hit different. Because Legend of Zelda, don't get me wrong, it's pretty, it's beautiful. It looks a little bit better than it did before, but for the most part, the exact same.
It looks the same. Yeah.
If it looked completely different, I'd be like, yeah, sure. But no, it won game of the year that year. So let Hi-Fi Rush have this game that literally came out of nowhere. The day it announced was the day it released.
Right.
I played it personally. It's not for me in terms of gameplay, but in terms of visuals, I loved it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a very short game, but I just couldn't get into it that much. I played a little bit
That's
of it,
real.
had a little bit of a good time, but didn't finish it. But yeah, moving on to best adaptation. So we have Castlevania Nocturne, Gran
Mm-hmm.
Turismo, Super Mario
I
Bros.
didn't even
Wonder,
know. I didn't know
Twisted
they
Twisted
adapted.
Metal, and this last one is the one that is
Twisted Metal?
you didn't know that
Really?
you didn't know that was a thing.
I mean, I know it. I didn't know that they had an adaptation.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's on Peacock. It's well,
That's crazy.
I hear that it's better than people thought it was gonna be because the trailers made it look like it was gonna be lame, but I hear that it's actually
Right.
kind of okay.
That's interesting. I'll have to check
But
that
yeah, the
out.
one that wins easily is the only one that I didn't name. The Last of Us
Oh yeah,
by a long
because
shot.
it's like it got people who don't even know what a Last of Us is to watch
Yeah,
it.
it
So
got people who don't play video games to watch it, and probably might even
yeah,
get
that's
those.
what I mean.
It might even get those people to play the game.
Right.
But Castlevania Nocturne is a runner-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Best action game.
That kind of good.
We have Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, which low-key, I forgot the game came out this year. I had a lot of fun with it with my little brother. I didn't expect it to get nominated for anything, if I'm being honest.
Real.
It's a good game, though. I voted for it because it's the only one. Well, actually, it's not the only one in this list I played. I played 3 of these because the next one is Ghost Runner 2. I played the demo. And I played Hi-Fi Rush. Remnant 2, haven't played that. But yeah, so I voted for Dead Island 2 because it was a good game. I hope they make a third one because it took them forever to make the second one.
Yeah.
We have Best VR/AR Game, Gran Turismo 7, Humanity, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Resident Evil Village VR mode, and Synapse. I'm just gonna vote Resident Evil Village because I love that game. That game's fun. And
Real.
I know it's probably gonna be really fun in VR because I played the original Resident Evil 4 in VR. That was the first time I ever played any type of Resident Evil 4. Was the original version of it in VR, which is a wild way to be the first time to play that game.
It is, yeah.
But it was fun for the little bit that I played. And if it wasn't on PSVR, which I don't care to spend money on because it would be a waste of money because I would barely use it.
Right.
I would play this in VR. And Resident Evil 4, the current remake, is also going to be in VR next year.
Oh wow.
But yeah, and then we have a Bex action / adventure game, Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2,
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I don't remember what I chose. If I'm being honest,
I was about to say, this is a hard choice for you, isn't it?
Yeah, because the only one I haven't played is Alan Wake 2, and I'm never gonna play it. And I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom. If I did, maybe it would be up for consideration, but it's not because I haven't played it.
Of course.
That's not true because I think I'm gonna vote for Tears of the Kingdom for at least one of these, even though I've never played it. Because just watching people play it is also very fun. Because what is it?
Yeah.
Low-key, there's actually something in here that's missing. There's a category that's missing.
What's the category?
I think it's like it's family game.
Oh.
Best family game isn't in here, and I would choose a game that I watch a lot of people play, and it just looks really fun to watch people play. And that's Party Animals. But yeah,
I've heard a lot about Party Animals.
Yeah, for some reason, best family game isn't in here. That's weird. But yeah, that's one of the categories, best family game, and for me, I would choose Party Animals. But yeah, this best action / adventure is this. Wait, I'm just realizing several of them are missing because also best direction also isn't here, so I'm gonna have to go back and look for the other one. But yeah, for best action adventure, I think I might have chose Resident Evil 4 because I'm literally playing it for a third time. So I was like, yeah, obviously. I love Spider-Man 2, but I can't say that I like Spider-Man 2 Resident Evil 4 right now. I just can't because I'm playing Resident Evil 3.
That's real.
Resident Evil 4 for a second time right now, and it's really fun.
Right.
Jedi Survivor though was really, really good. Like it was unnecessarily good. But yeah, I don't know what they did that changed everything. So now I gotta find all the categories again because some of them are missing. Now I'm just gonna have to look it up.
Right.
Why did you do this Game Awards? Okay, here's one that I was looking for. Best performances are Ben Starr as Clive Rosfield, and he's my vote in Final Fantasy 16. He was really good. He also has done something that I've never seen done for a video game before that I think more games should do, which is he did a whole press tour like it was a movie. And that's why I'm voting for him, because I just like him as a person. He also did a really good job in the game, and the game was really fun. But him doing that press tour really made me like him so much, and I'm like, he deserves this award. He's just such a nice guy. Like, if all these other actors did this, I probably would vote them. Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis in Jedi Survivor. Idris Elba in Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. Melody Labarde as I can't remember her character's name in Alan Wake 2. Haven't played it. Neil Newborn as Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3.
Ooh.
And Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker in Spider-Man 2. Again, Ben Starr is my vote. But Astarion's probably going to win.
I was going to say, it's between Astarion and Yuri Lowenthal. For sure. Honestly.
It's for sure.
Yuri Lowenthal because it's Yuri Lowenthal. Like, right? Right. And then Astarion because, like, I hear more about Astarion than I do about any other character in Baldur's Gate.
For sure.
Including people's main characters.
Okay, here we go.
It's
I guess for some reason on my tablet it just wasn't loading the rest of their tweets. We have Best RPG. We also didn't do that one either, which is of course Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P,
right, Sea
of Stars, and Starfield. I'm gonna go Final Fantasy 16 because I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, but Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna win that.
Yeah.
Get the family games. Family games, I guess you don't matter.
Right.
We're just gonna go best game direction in game, then game of the year. So best game direction are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. That's the one I'm gonna vote Tears of the Kingdom for.
Right.
Because it's just
real.
It deserves it. In terms of game direction, I think that Tears of the Kingdom deserves it. In terms of game direction, I agree. Specifically. Now, yeah, for game of the year. Usually the category for game of the year and game direction is the exact same, and it is here too. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2. Actually, something that wasn't in there before, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. This
Oh,
is
wow.
tough. I've only played 2 of these, but there are 2 that I haven't played that I want to vote for more than the 2 that I have played. And I played Spider-Man 2, I played Resident Evil 4. I think they're great. I don't think they should be Game of the Year.
Right.
I,
Because
from,
especially Resident Evil 4, because it's a remake. That
no,
doesn't count.
I
It's
completely
cheating.
disagree with that. That does not count. No, remakes count. Okay, they remade this game from the ground up. Okay, this game,
I
yes,
guess.
it's built on a legacy, but they don't like. It's not. Well, I guess it is partially a popular vote, but like it's not completely a popular vote. Like at the end of the day, the judges at like the Game Awards have the final say.
Right.
And like Resident Evil 4, despite it being considered the best game in the franchise and an iconic game that recently got remade, there are other games here that rival it in popularity, and they're new games. And you could also technically argue the same for Zelda because it's Zelda.
Yeah, you could.
And
you
Spider-Man because it's Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is popular beyond video games. So if you want to make that argument because it's a remake, you can make that argument with all of this. Also Mario.
And I would.
Because it's Mario.
Yeah. Yeah.
Technically, the only 2 that if you were to judge it in that space, the only 2 that technically... No, even then, I guess there's only one that would really count, and that's Alan Wake 2, because Baldur's Gate has the entirety of D&D on its back.
Yeah.
So if we were to do it that way, Alan Wake 2 wins. But I think Baldur's Gate 3 should get Game of the Year. And
Same.
I think I'm going to vote Baldur's Gate 3 when I vote later on. But yeah, that's all I've got for video games and podcasts in general. Let me make sure we're still recording. I full screened Chrome and okay, we're still recording.
Okay, fantastic. I don't have anything. I'm just excited for
Go vote for the game.
Mario RPG. Yes, that also. Go vote.
If the website's working.
Right.
I have to wait a couple of days. But yeah, I didn't say at the top, but Game Awards are happening on December 7th. I'm for sure gonna be watching live that night. The Game Awards are my Grammys. They're my Emmys. They're my what's the other award? Oscars. They're my
That's what to say.
They're my Academy Awards. I love watching Game Awards. And plus, something that we always get at Game Awards are game announcements. Ooh boy.
Yes.
I'm excited because last year we got Hades 2 at the Game Awards. Oh, that's what they also didn't have here. Most anticipated upcoming game. They didn't have that here. But one of them was Hades 2. And for me, it's obviously Hades 2. I assume for you it's also Hades 2.
It is Hades 2.
Another one that was there, that the only other game there that even rivaled Hades 2, but even then didn't come close, was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But the only reason it doesn't is because that game comes out in like 2 months. It's hard for me to be like, I'm excited for it, but that game comes out really soon. Hades 2, I don't know when
it's not Hades 2.
I don't know when the hell Hades 2 is coming out, so my anticipation is higher because I have confirmation on one. For me, that one, my body's low-key prepared. I'm prepared for that and the excitement that I will have and the fun I will have with Final Fantasy. But Hades, off top, I just like Hades more as a game, but also I don't know when it's coming out, so because of that, my hype and excitement is a little bit higher, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
The anticipation.
Yep.
Whereas one of them is already coming, one of them, I don't know. But yeah, I forget what the other ones were, but it doesn't matter. It's Hades.
Right.
It's Hades. Hades is going to win that.
It's Hades. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all we got. As usual, you can find my ads below me, Aiara's at below them, and the Mustard has at below that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my birthday. Peace.
Yeah. Happy birthday, dude.